Hey, what's up, guys? We're with Kyle over at Genesis Gaming, and we are going to check out his post-BANLIST Salamangreat deck profile that he has been cooking up for you guys to try to get a head start on how to build Salad for the upcoming format, because now, of course, our boy Gazelle has finally been freed after many thoughts and prayers. So, Kyle, I'm just going to let you take it away for this profile. Also, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. How I would go about it is Salad as a deck right now is in a good position to be playable with a Rise Heart's ban, but take note, this is a deck that you would only want to play if you really love the deck or you just want to try it out and have a good expectation for your locals to not be full of Dimension Shifter. This deck is super flexible in terms of what it can play, so if there are any things that you would like to change within this profile, please do. This isn't going to be a standard build. This is just what I would take to a higher level event to try and win as much as possible against a majority of the matchups going on.
Sounds good. Let's check it out.
So, obvious 3 Flame Buffalo.
You want to turn towards me?
Yeah, sorry. 3 Buffalo and 3 Ash Blossom. Some people say that Flame Buffalo is not a good card anymore. They're lying. The propaganda doesn't work on me specifically because I know this deck.
You like 3 though, it comes up.
This card lets you do full Salad combo while playing around Droll. The only thing you miss out on is a Raging Phoenix Search, but that's not really a hindrance that much. Salamangreat of Fire is a good card, but I think this card is just an objectively better normal summon in variants in which you're not going to want to Firelock yourself. And Ash Blossom is looking to be a pretty good hand trap this format. It might not be the absolute best against specific decks, but this card takes Fluwanderies and puts them in a really weird bind, because if you Ash the Quick Play spell and then Imperm Robina, they really have nothing else going for them. So if they didn't open Shifter, you're going to win the game. So, and this card is also really good against Tearlament, because if you Ash one of their Millers, it's really good. It's good against Manatium when you Ash Calarium or any of the other field spells.
it's just the best hand trap.
But Droll is better against Manatium. But in game 1, having this card and being able to recycle this card, also Branded Fusion for the Branded Chimera piles, this card is really solid, and with Gazelle at 3, you can recycle this card and this card significantly more, because you don't have to worry about bringing back Gazelle. Because if you have access to Circle, there's your Gazelle. So I'm pretty confident in this decision to play 3 of each. If you want to play Salamangreat of Fire, go ahead. I won't stop you. It's just have fun losing to Droll and Lockbird in games 2 and 3. That's all I have to say about it. And speaking of Salamangreat of Fire, he's at 1 with Gazelle at 3. The reason that this guy's at 1 is because it's a tech option for, there are some hands where you just need a 1-card starter, and this card is a 1-card starter. It's immensely searchable. But Gazelle is this card, but miles better. Level 3 for Mirage Stalio reasons.
So why is Gazelle better than Salamangreat of Fire?
Because this card is your normal summon. This card is your extender. And sending from deck to graveyard is way better than searching, because it puts it into the graveyard to be live instantly. So if you have a Jack Jaguar in your hand, you can send a Foxy and then activate Sanctuary and then get the Jack Jaguar out of your hand by summoning Foxy.
Okay.
That's why this card is at 1. It's not because this card is bad, it's because this card is way more flexible in terms of your combo and grind game, and it helps you when you Nibiru your own board to stop your opponent from playing when you get rid of the Phoenix, because then you can summon this while this card will just rot in your hand.
Okay.
And the Firelock is also kind of not amazing, but you can work around it sometimes. This card is still really good. If you want to play this at 3, I would recommend that you would do that. Just be careful against metas that have a lot of Droll and Lockbird. And Book of Moon. And then we have 3 Spinny, 3 Foxy. Foxy is looking to be pretty good this format. There are a good amount of face-up spell and trap cards on the field. Obviously not against Unchained, but against decks like Fluwanderies, you can hit their continuous spells and traps and their field spells. It's good against Manatium. It's good against Tearlament. It's good against whatever remains of kashtira. basically any deck that put in Purrely and Dragon Link specifically with like Branded Regained and my friend Purrely. And Spinny's just a fantastic extender. There's no reason to explain why this card is amazing. This card's always been amazing.
Sounds good.
And then 1 Weasel, 1 Jack, and 1 Falco. I've seen lists that don't play Falco, and I'm kind of perplexed on that, but to each their own, I won't stop them. Jack Jaguar's always just been a one of, because now you have Gazelle at 3. This card is no longer mandatory and multiple copies to perform the 1 card access code line. And Weasel is actually really good because it can give your opponent a guy, which shuts off Kashtira's entire game plan. It shuts off Tearlament's first starter.
Shuts off Imperm.
Yeah, it shuts off Impermanence, Lightning Storm, evenly matched. Basically, any card that requires you to control no cards, this card takes care of it, while also drawing you a card.
Did you ever run more?
Only in the Floodgate build, so you could see it more consistently.
Okay.
And the reason we're not playing Salamangreat of Fire at 3 is because of double parallel exceed. This card is fantastic. I had omitted it from a good amount of my Salo lists at this point because of Salamangreat of Fire, but now that we're walking into a format where graveyard effects are very, very necessary, specifically with like Unchained, Tearlament, Manadium, I think this card going into something like Abyss Dweller is going to be fantastic as a going first option to just take those decks out as soon as
solves
possible.
your Unchained matchup because going first you have a really hard Unchained matchup.
Yes. Going first, this deck struggles to do anything against Unchained specifically because the back row and the entire board of Unchained floats on destruction, so Rage for 4 isn't actually good. But if you can Dweller them and then hit them with a Rage for 4, it's kind of just like a Rage for 4 against any other deck. So it just makes the matchup significantly easier. And then for the last of the monsters, 3 Nibiru. You can put this card in your sideboard. I actually really like it in the main deck. Like, obviously, it's not good against like Purrely at all, but that's
I've
fine.
seen Nibiru's get resolved against Purrely, but usually it still isn't great.
Yeah, no, it's too inconsistent, but this card is still really good. Against Unchained, it's okay. This card destroys Rescue Ace, which is like a godsend. It also just destroys Tearlament, Dragon Link, basically any combo deck. I'd say if you want to play this card in your sideboard, you can, but I would recommend it if you do have spots in your main deck, put it in your main deck. This card is really, really good.
Okay.
And now to move on to the spells. 3 Sign at Mining and 3 Circle. Obviously, these are copies of Gazelle 7 through 10.
Or Fire if you want that one card.
That's because 3 Gazelle, 1 Fire, 3 Mining, 3 Circle is 10 Gazelle. This is 1 card. This is a 2 card Gazelle from your deck for free, and this card is just searchable and recurable. And being quick play spell is also really nice to give your monster protection from effects like Unchained Abomination, Kashtira Fenrir, Purrely Noir. What else? Like Barone Pops or something. It's just unaffected by monsters is always a really good effect to have on your boss monster, but your deck doesn't do it intrinsically. But this card's always been good. Circle's always been amazing. And now for the non-consistency pieces, you can. These 2, Will and Sanctuary, both one-ofs. Anyone who plays multiple Will, I would question what they're doing, and Sanctuary's always been a one-of. And now for the generic cards, 1 Thrust, 1 Talents, and 1 Call by the Grave. You can play a second Talents, I don't blame you. Thrust is in here because if your Raging Phoenix gets ashed, you can set Rage from your deck. So it's just free. Talents is in here to like take the Nibiru out of your opponent's hand when they droll you on your first search, or droll you on resolution of Buffalo into Balinks, or ash you at all. And Call by the Grave is just a way to circumvent Unchained floaters, second copies of other cards, and hand traps. But like, obviously against Nibiru, it's not going to do much, but I would not recommend playing Crossout. It's
called by Mother, but you're not great Crossout.
Yeah, no. There's too many decks going around for Crossout to truly like be insane. Like, yeah, you can cross out like a Droll or a Nibiru that you're playing in your side or main deck, but I just find that to be I just find it to be like entirely pointless, because there are some times where it's like you're playing against it, and yeah, you do get nibbed, but the generic card you have in this deck and in your side deck should be able to circumvent that in games 2 and 3.
Okay.
And now, to move on to the traps, 1 Rage and 1 Rar. Multiple Rar, I would say, if you want to, go ahead, but multiple Rage, no. There's no need for multiples of this card. This card is just either Regeki Break or pop equal to your reincarnated Link monster's Link rating, and this is just Infinity Barrier that can set itself.
Sounds good.
And then to finish off the main deck, 3 Impermanence. I think Impermanence is actually really good in this format. It does a lot against the top decks. It takes out Unchained Abomination. It takes out the Unchained Link 2 and 3.
It's just a nice card right now.
Yeah, it also works against breaking boards. In the case of Manatium, because you can bait out their Barone or you can bait out their Dissipator. And it's also really good against Crimson Dragon. It's also good against Fluanderies, because you can just imperm the Robina and they probably lose. So, yeah, I would recommend playing Imperm at 3. It's just really good in this format, but if you don't want to play it and you want to play something else, by all means, go ahead.
Sounds good. That's the main deck?
40 cards.
All right, here's the extra deck.
Yeah, the extra deck, you can do a lot with the extra deck. I just chose that this variant this way to go about it with the extra deck might put up more results against a wide variety of decks. I'm not looking for linear results against one specific deck, because it's not a tier 0 format. Everyone says Unchained's tier 0, but it's not. If you can beat Unchained, your deck can probably do fine. So 3 Balinks. This is entirely optimized. If you're playing 2 Balinks, then you're playing Link Decoder, and if you're playing Link Decoder, that means that your extra deck is designed to play with the access code package. But
we're a hybrid here.
Yeah, yeah. This is more of a streamlined variant. So I'm not playing the Link Decoder package. I find it to be unnecessary. Same thing with Update Jammer. Update Jammer is just not good. And then 3 Sunlight Wolf. I've seen some lists with Sunlight Wolf at 2. I find that to be entirely wrong, because as Joshua Schmidt said in his deck profile, he was playing 2 Wolf and Update Jammer, and he wished that he had swapped out the Update Jammer for a 3rd Wolf, because missing this card for your grind game sucks. It's the worst. Because sometimes, for the 1 card Raging Phoenix combo, you'll have to put the Balinks back, but you'll have the Wolf in your graveyard, so if you only have 1 in your extra deck left, you can't reincarnate it without Jaguar, and if it gets disrupted, you basically lose, because you have to bring it back with Wolf's effect, which is not great. And then 2 Heat Leo. I can't part with the 2nd Heat Leo or the first one, unfortunately. It's just how it is. I've always had Heat Leo in the extra deck. If you don't like it, you don't like it. You can change it if you want. I won't stop you. Just know that you're going to have a tough time getting those branded regains, and my friend Purrely's off the field. It's also really decent against Unchained, because if they set Abomination's Prison and you have Dark Rulered their board, or found a way to stop them from using most of their effects, you can just put their set back row back into their deck, which is fine. It's not amazing, but having this as a tool in your extra deck is okay. I mean, if you want to play something else, go ahead. I won't stop you. Phoenix. What?
You're good.
Okay. If you want to play Raging Phoenix, play it at 2. If you don't want to, just don't play it. I think Raging Phoenix is
It's a really good card.
It is really good.
So I can see why you want to play it too.
Yeah, obviously. It's really good. With Gazelle at 3, this card becomes way more insane, because you no longer need to dedicate your combo to constantly having Gazelle. You just need to dedicate your combo to constantly having a way to get to Gazelle. So the physical card doesn't need to be there. It's just Gazelle and Raging Phoenix is really good, because if they Nibiru your board, you can just summon the Gazelle. If they hide you over your Phoenix to stop the trap, you can just summon Gazelle, and then when Gazelle is destroyed, you can bring this thing back, and it'll have 4,300 attack, which is about tied with an average access code talker. Some might go up to 53, but that's just par for the course.
Sounds good.
And now Splash Mage, Transcode, and Access Code. You might be noticing Heat Soul is not in the extra deck. It has been slotted out for something else. These cards, I'm personally just going to say it, mandatory. If you're playing this deck and you're not playing at least these 3 cards, you're not going to be able to win a majority of your matchups. These cards allow you to play through boards like it's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then Abyss Dweller and Mirage Stalio. Dweller is in here in the main deck to facilitate the Unchained matchup, because you can activate Dweller to shut off their graveyard effects, and then the Rage for 4 operates like a normal Rage for 4 instead of just a Spec 4 from deck. And Mirage Stalio has just always been amazing.
Of course.
Yeah. If you want to play Dweller in your main deck, and that's fine, but if you fear matchups like Branded Chimera, Fluwandereeze, or Manatium, I would suggest putting Baguska either in your main or side deck to swap out for this Dweller.
Yeah. Definitely options.
So,
That's
yeah.
why Parallel Exceed, I feel like, is very good. Because
Yes.
that really does solve your Unchained matchup
Yes.
going first, which is an issue.
Yeah, and going first, like, solving the... Because, like, if you can normal summon Flame Buffalo, if they de-shifter you, like you're playing against Wanderees, and then you just link off into Banelinks, summon the Parallel Exceed, search the Sanctuary, discard an Irrelevant Cybers, draw 2, and then summon the other Exceed and make Baguska. I don't know how it's that without an interruption, which
That's
you can
fair.
just negate with Rage, with a RAR.
That's fair.
So it's fine. And for the side deck, 3 Joel and Lockbird.
Of course.
Manatium will be a good deck.
Shout out to you just just OTKing me with this card at our game 2 of the finals last week.
Yeah, Joel and Lockbird Turbo was fun. I didn't really like it that much, but I know you didn't. I know you liked it less. This card is all right in this format. It's good against Manatium, and it's good against Dragonlink, and
Chimera.
Yeah, and it's good against Purrely. But if you... What?
Arguably, because they do everything in draw phase.
Yeah, they can, but sometimes they can't, and that's fine. That's just how it is. If you want to main deck this card, you can. I would just not if I were you, because it's too inconsistent of a floodgate. And you can say the same thing about Dweller, but this deck is designed to beat the top decks in the room. And the top decks all either like fold to Dweller.
And you're covering a lot of matchups this way.
Yes.
Like, it's a broad meta.
Yes.
Like, Droll is very good against a lot. It covers your Flu matchup. It covers your Mana matchup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then 3 Kurikara. This card is absolutely
Still insane.
Nuts against Purrely and Tearlament. And you may say, why is it good against Tearlament? Well, if you go first and they drop a Hovness and then they start playing on your turn, you can just scoop their entire board away and extend it to Raging Phoenix or whatever you need.
And then kill them.
Yeah. Yeah. This card is...
Shout out to Devin Rodriguez, who was using this card in Tearlament format before, when it was like a $10 card.
Yeah.
Because it was good against Tear.
Yeah, it's super good against Tearlament. It just destroys them if they don't play around it, or like if they don't have a way to like accrue advantage without playing into it. Yeah, this card is really, really good. If you're playing Salad, I would suggest very highly that you pick this card up. It is one of the best Fire Extender board breaker cards out there.
I bet it's going to get reprinted in that Maze set.
It's going to... If it doesn't get reprinted, then I wish all of you good luck in picking up 3. I mean, I got it when it was $50. I was kind of late, too. So, it's just... That's just how it is. Yeah, Curry Car is really good. Get it. That's all I got. And now for your thrust targets, 2 Lightning Storm and Change of Heart. Change of Heart is in here specifically for the Unchained matchup. Obviously, they're not... If you're playing as a good Unchained player, this card isn't going to do absolutely everything you want it to do, but it's still in here for a lot of other decks. And Lightning Storm is in here for Labyrinth specifically. Labyrinth is really annoying to fight against going second.
It's just really good, this format, too.
Yes.
Would you be running the Feather Duster if you had one?
Yes.
Okay.
I would suggest that if you wanted to, you could cut the Change of Heart for a Duster, or one of these for a Duster.
Or just something else.
Yeah, or something else. But yeah, this card is really, really good against.
It just depends on what
macro
you think you're
decks.
gonna see, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
if you're playing against something that loses to Lightning Storm, this card is going to be a win the game button. If you're playing against a deck that loses to
Shout out
Change
Unchained.
of Heart, then this card is going to make that matchup significantly
And Chimera
easier.
for taking their Gazelle.
Yes.
So
Yes, taking their Gazelle is huge.
forces out the Chimera fusion, or they could lose all their negates.
3D barrier. I'm kind of questioning the legitimacy of this card as a sideboard card
Really?
as of right now. The reason why is because it doesn't hit Flu, it doesn't hit Unchained, it hits Purrely and Tier, but Tier really doesn't care about
And Branded.
dimensional barrier. It does hit Branded really, really hard, but like the reason
It's
why
also just a going first card, you know.
yeah,
so
it is.
Just
It's a
like,
going first card, but it's not a board breaker. It's a stun piece. But like,
I still think
board
it warrants
breakers-
it, probably.
Yeah, it warrants it, but I wouldn't be surprised if this card fades out somewhat against a majority of the decks. Like, once the format gets solved, it'll be determined whether this card will truly be, like, still as good as it was last format. But as of right now, I'd say play 3 and test it out. If it doesn't work out in your meta, then cut it.
Okay.
And finally, 3 evenly matched.
We love evenly here.
Yeah, this card is insane. Skipping your battle phase doesn't matter in a deck that had no intention on OTKing you in the first place. So, yeah.
And it does a lot to Unchained,
Yes.
in my opinion. Even though they can still technically play, it's like it takes away a lot of their plays.
Well, it forces them to play in the uncomfortable position of, I have to, otherwise I lose my entire field.
Well, usually what they do is they will keep a trap or something and then like have a pop in hand, whatever. So it's like
That's fine.
it's like fine.
That-
if not, it's like a DD
fine.
King, which you can usually just like get over, play through.
Yeah, you can play through it. You can curry card it. It's hilarious. Yeah, this card is actually really... It's also really good against Flu because it forces them to, like, keep their... Actually, no, I'm not sure if it's really good against Flu because I'm pretty sure they usually end on the board with, like, 1 or 2 cards. It's been so long since I played against Flu. But, yeah, this card also takes out Purrely and just, like, really forces them to do stuff because it gets around Noir's protection. So, if you can go evenly... and then do your Curry Kara setup for the Noir, you win the game. There is nothing they can do past that unless they've just, like, floated beyond belief. But at that point, you were playing a game you're going to be losing anyways. I would suggest playing this card at 3, or you can just play it at 1 and play 2 Thrust. All the normal spells and traps in here can be cut down by a huge margin to play other cards, like Marionette Might for the Unchained matchup. But I don't have 3 Marionette Might. I kind of wish I did, because it would be funny to show it off in the sideboard. But yeah, that's basically it.
Alrighty. Thank you for the deck profile, Kyle. We'll see how everything goes this format, but this is a really solid list, I think, for people going forward. So we appreciate that. And with that being said, shout out to our boy Gazelle going back to 3.
Yeah,
and if you guys have any questions, leave your comments below. We are usually always in the comments answering if you're nice and respectful. So, if you guys want to see more on the deck or more Salamangreat content or more great Yu-Gi-Oh content, like and subscribe. Check out our Yu-Gi-Oh podcast. Follow me on Twitter and join the Discord down in the description. See you guys later. Have a good day.